Alright guys, we've got some major news on the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom front, and the marketing watch might be starting up. There are quite a bit of videos and rumors out there that Nintendo is preparing for some new The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom content. Now at first, I didn't really pay too much mind to it after watching. Seems kind of sketchy. I mean, who knows? Obviously, Nintendo's been low-key trolling us on Twitter with their posts of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild content, but then also kind of putting out many ads for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom right there on Twitter for everyone to see with that same trailer. So it's a little bit of a dynamic, but at the same time, foreshadowing what's going to be happening soon, because I think we all knew Nintendo would ramp up soon. Now, the most recent rumors are that Nintendo is going to be having some type of new footage, trailer, or event for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom soon, and as soon as this upcoming week. So we could be getting something new. Now, there was a little bit of a fake out with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for PAX. Everyone found out that Nintendo, or at least Nintendo announced it, and they're saying, hey, we're going to PAX. Everyone thought that Nintendo was going to have something with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at PAX. I saw many content creators go there because they're thinking, hey, something's going to happen. We got there and it was a statue and a display, and there wasn't really much else. Although people that did go to PAX in person was able to meet up, hang out with other content creators, network, all that good stuff. That's good to do if you're in this line of work. But they also gave away some pins as well, which was cool. But once again, foreshadowing. It's all foreshadowing. Now, recently, I was on the Spawncast, and Nate from Nate the Hate didn't outright say anything on the show, but it definitely seemed like he alluded to something finally happening with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I wanted to get this video out because I do think that it's just about time. Now, we are at the end of March here. We're going into April. It's going to be April soon, and I think that Nintendo is absolutely going to be gearing up the marketing for this game, and they're kind of already doing it because they have those ads that they're paying for on Twitter. They do have ads, like I think on Google for it as well. They are not afraid of showing in terms of them saying, yes, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's coming out May 12th. The solid date, they have footage, they have everything, but I do think that they're waiting for the exact right time in order to get it done and to really advertise this game the way that they want to. And I also think there's other dynamics that play a part as well, because I don't think they want to show too much of this game. I don't think they want to spoil the game for people. And even if you look at it, with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, now that was trying to sell a whole new system. That's trying to sell a whole new style of Zelda game. They're trying to sell many different things, but they didn't really show us too much. Go back and look at the footage beforehand. There was a couple trailers for it in terms of actual in-game trailers, not the stuff that they showed like at the Game Awards, like the Wii U version and all that. But when it comes to the version of Zelda that we know, there wasn't really too much. There was a couple trailers beforehand, and then there was the E3 2016 where they just show off that first little slice of game. That was it, but that seemed like so much more in comparison to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I understand why some fans are upset with that, but it does seem like it's going to stop here very soon if these rumors are correct, and if the big news is dropping with the Zelda Direct or something along the line of that. Now, what could we see in this new Zelda trailer or footage or marketing? I do think that we finally get a little bit more info on the story, because the story is pretty much shrouded in mystery at this point. We have a very small snippet of what's going on. Malice, Ganon's back. I mean, it's infesting Hyrule. Princess Zelda, she looks like she's in a pickle. She has a problem there. Something happens to Link's arm. And then there are definitely different sections or something drastic that happens between the Link that we do see in certain parts and then another Link with long hair and what's going on with this outfit there. So all of that is shrouded in mystery when it comes to the layman's terms with normal Zelda fans. Now, a lot of the Zelda tubers have definitely deciphered and looked and poked and prodded and analyzed and maybe figured out some things, but right now there isn't much to go off of. So I do think that we get a little bit of a story synopsis and we get some more footage of like another power or a new weapon or new enemies. Now, if you looked at the trailers beforehand, there was a number of new enemies, new styles, new ways that they're doing things over The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I love the vehicle traversal. They really focused in on that. I think that they're also focusing in that this game is going to be more of a cinematic or narrative experience, along with the great gameplay that you know and love with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I think that's the fusion for this game. It is going to be a narrative experience, much better than the flashbacks and some of the scenes that they showed with Breath of the Wild, and how that game was focused purely on the player experience, you putting yourself in as Link and saving Hyrule in this type of way and being one with the environment and the nature and overcoming that along with everything else. So I do think that the shift with this game now is that, okay, you're the established hero. Obviously there is something to where you're returning, but there is a big twist. There is something that happens, something that affects things, and it's not going to be as easy as it was before, and you're going to have to go to many different places that you never explored before in order to get through this one. So I think that the whole tone and shift of this one is going to be dramatic. I think it's going to be more exhilarating with the gameplay, and I think that people who were bummed out about the story and how maybe it wasn't as good as they would have liked to see compared to previous Zelda games, I think that gets a dramatic increase when it comes to The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So if this does actually turn out to be true with this footage coming very soon, I think that's going to make a lot of Zelda fans happy, because they've only showed us just a few snippets here and there, and it's been great with what they've shown us, but we've all been waiting for a bit more. Now, my own personal thing here, guys, is that I don't need to see another ounce of footage. Now, obviously, it would be great because I can make content on it and we can discuss, and it's cool to get hype beforehand, but I'm sold again on this game. I just want it to come out, and I'm excited to see when the game finally does what they do with it, because I think it's going to be ridiculously good. Now, let's move on to something else that's looking ridiculously good and probably sold a lot more people, and that is Final Fantasy 16. Now, unlike Nintendo with Tears of the Kingdom, Square Enix, Final Fantasy, they came guns a-blazing at this show with Final Fantasy 16. We've got the new Valisthea trailer, maybe I said that right or wrong, not 100% sure, from PAX East 2023. It was a closer look at the game's world and some of the core themes that you can expect. Now, Square Enix has released a brand new trailer that you guys are seeing right here for Final Fantasy 16, introducing the world of Valisthea, as well as published the full archive of the PAX East 2023 panel. Quote, yes, you can pet the Torgal, a Final Fantasy 16 discussion, Naoki Yoshida and Koji Fox. Now, we do know 100% Final Fantasy 16 is due out for the PlayStation 5 on June 22nd, and fans all there hyped, excited. My boy HMK, we've got Night Sky Prince, we've got everyone really excited for this, and I think that this trailer tells me a number of things with Final Fantasy 16. One, they didn't lose all their soul when it comes to the RPG and the essence of that. It's not just going to be some type of Devil May Cry action game. There are varied environments. There are colors, which was big for me because everything was like shrouded in darkness in the last footage. It felt too dungeon crawly, it felt too maybe Dark Soulsy or whatever the case is. It did not feel, in terms of what they showed, like Final Fantasy. Now, I wasn't worried that it wasn't going to have that. I was just saying, this footage is really dark. They're really kind of emphasizing maybe something that I'm not really too interested in. But friend, we know they're going to have that. Show me the stuff that really gets me excited about Final Fantasy, which is the world, which is the themes, which is the colors, the vibrancy. Final Fantasy has always been about that. That is the main theme of sense and adventure, and they did that with this trailer. And there's so many different locations that they showed off. They showed off some really cool vegetation and plants and ground and bridges, and it looks like it's just so well put together, even with some of the towns and the locations that Clive is walking through. It is a spectacular sight. And we also have exclusive information straight from PAX. Shout out to my man Night Sky, who did confirm with Yoshi P, okay? Yoshi P confirmed this, that yes, the game is going to support 1440p and 60 frames per second. So all of this beautiful footage you're going to see is running silky smooth and looking good with that newly added 1440p for PlayStation 5, which is big, which is very, very big for people that like to play their games in performance mode. Now, of course, you're probably going to have your 4K 30 frames per second mode or uncapped frame rate. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do it, but you are going to have that as well for the fans. But I'm just looking through the environments, this lava, the mountainscapes, like everything, the structures. It looks awesome. Now, some might worry about the fact that it's just kind of like a one-man army type of RPG, but you do have your doggo. Your doggo is going to be there with you. And also, there's going to be certain parts where other party members will join you for combat. So it's not all just one-man type of team army. Your doggo is going to be there, and of course, you're going to have your teammates at certain times. So June 22nd can't come soon enough. But first, we got to get The Legend of Zelda, which comes out in May. So May can't come soon enough. It's been fantastic with this. Now, the thing that excites me too is that I put out this on Twitter. They showed a clip of some combat and I was like, yo, this looks great. This is the most excited that I've been. Now, this is before we got this new trailer, and somebody was like, oh, well, yeah, the Devil May Cry combat director, you know, he's going to be there. It looks great. I'm like, no, I'm not necessarily excited about that. I mean, we've already seen the combat. The combat already looks incredible. We've already saw what's going on there, or at least it looks incredible for a lot of people that like action. Some people, I get it, you like the other style of Final Fantasy, 100% get that, but I like the environment. I thought the environment looked great because it was vibrant and there was colors and it was detailed. So I'm like, this is what's great about Final Fantasy. This is what's made Final Fantasy so good for so long. So the action gameplay or the focus, that's just one thing that they're obviously going to move over towards. They're going to try to get that base that loves DMC or that loves God of War, that loves that, but they're also going to try to see if they can hold on to that base that bought Final Fantasy 16. So it's a blend and they're trying something new. Once again, I do feel that they should make a high-end Final Fantasy that's also like an ATB or a turn-based type of game and have that on Nintendo Switch or have it on all the different platforms, just so you can, one, you can split your revenue streams as well, make more, but then also two, satisfy everyone. But I know it doesn't always work out that way. So I'm excited for what we're getting because the game graphically and gameplay-wise looks very polished and sharp. And let's just be real here, guys. Compared to Final Fantasy 15, this looks considerably better from a polish standpoint. Now, the team member stuff, that's one thing, but at the launch of Final Fantasy 15, you couldn't even change team members. That had to be an update later down the line, which was annoying when I played it because it just felt kind of weird that you couldn't actually control those characters, although other RPGs have done it, but it still felt off. It felt like it meant to be to where you can control different characters and do custom combos. So the fact that this game is already looking far more polished at this point before the game's even launching, that is a very good sign for the combat, for the pacing, for the flow, and they are showing it. They are getting ready to go, pre-orders live and everything. So I'm excited for that when it comes to Final Fantasy 16, and I think that this is going to be a phenomenal release when it does launch. The footage that they showed from PAX East was incredible. The hype was there. So many more people I saw on Twitter were saying that they were sold. I think that people in comment sections on different pages that put up the footage, they're like, okay, this looks great. The YouTube pages, everything's been solid right now with Final Fantasy 16, and I think that they've done a 180 on a lot of people's thoughts with this game after this brand new footage. So exciting all around there. Yoshi P has done a great job, but I do think that they're probably going to show us a bit more. They're probably going to show us a bit more maybe in the next month or so. I think that there's some talks about a demo or something like that closer to the launch. So I think that it's really just all going to snowball into a very hyped Final Fantasy. It's going to be tough to kind of outsell what Final Fantasy 15 did, just because it was multi-platform and the hype that was kind of heading into that game because of how long it was in development. And this game's only on PS5, limited install base, compared to where the PS4 and Xbox One and PC was back in 2015, 2016 when the game was launching with Final Fantasy 15. But I think that for the install base and what they're trying to do, it's going to do well, especially in the Western territories. Japan should be great as well, but the Western territories, the PS5 base is really gonna hone in and spend that $70 on this game, because this game, to me at least, from the production quality and what they've shown, is worth that. But we're gonna have to wait and see for the full release, but this could be the highest rated Final Fantasy in terms of main Final Fantasy game, console game, not Final Fantasy Online and all that. Highest one since the PS2 days. Like, it really could get there. So we'll see what happens. So what are your thoughts on both of these things here with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in addition to Final Fantasy 16? If you want to check out more footage of both of these games on the channel, you can go right here on the screen and watch some of my previous content. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next video. Peace.